Fractions to decimals or decimals to fraction. So if you are given a decimal, such as this, 0 and 7/10, how would you, using your knowledge of place value, how would you write this? So let me get my stuff. So I know it's 0 and 7 is in the tenths place. So 7/10. I said two numbers. So to write it as a fraction, it is 7/10. Next one, 0 and 35 is in the hundredths place. 35 hundredths. So I'm going to write 35 hundredths. Can you rename this fraction? Can we simplify this fraction? I can divide both numbers by 5. I can divide both numbers by 5. They're both divisible by 5. So if I divide both of these numbers by 5, I am left with a fraction of 7/20. So I renamed it as 7/20. 35 hundredths is equivalent to 7/20, which is equivalent to the decimal of 35 hundredths. Let's try two more examples. This says 4 and 25 hundredths. So I write it as 4. The fraction is 25 hundredths. Can I simplify this? Can I rename it into something else? Well, I know it's going to be 4. But what can I divide 25 and 100 by? I'm going to divide both numbers by 25. So it'll be 4 and 1/4. So 4 and 25 hundredths is equivalent to 4 and 1/4, which is equivalent to the decimal of 4 and 25 hundredths. What happens if you are now given a fraction? How do you turn a fraction into a decimal? Well, this can be rewritten as 4 divided by 5. So you have 4, you're dividing it into 5 groups. So 4 divided by 5. So how will you divide this? So 4 is divided into 5 groups. So some people know it as the top number goes in, the bottom number goes out. So 4 divided by 5. Can 5 go into 4? No, it goes in 0 times. So that cannot go. So I subtract this, I get 4. How can I rename 4 without changing its value? I put a 0.0, that's 4.0. I bring down the 0. And so 5 goes into 48 times. Don't forget decimal point. So 4/5 is equivalent to 0 and 8/10. However, what if you prefer using something called out of 100, using your place value or your multiples of 10? How many groups of 5 can go into 10? Times 2. So I'm going to multiply the numerator and the denominator by 2. So I get 8/10, which is the same as the decimal as 8/10. Do you prefer dividing 4 divided by 5, or do you prefer rewriting it using multiples of 10 or 100? Next one, 3/8. Is this number going to be more than half or less than half? Well, what's half of 8? The whole is 8. So half of it is 4. So this is going to be less than half. Can this goes into a multiple of 10s? No, it cannot. So we're going to have to divide this. So 3/8 is the same as saying 3 divided by 8. So I have 3. I'm dividing it into 8 groups. Can 8 go in 3? 0 times. So I subtract this and left with 3. So I put a 0.0. I bring it down. Don't forget the decimal point right here. How many groups of 8s go into 38, 16, 24? 3 groups. So I subtract 30 minus 24, and I get 6. I need to get rid of this remainder, so I add another 0, because 3.00 does not change the value of 3. Can 8 go into groups of 8 go into 60? 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. 48, 56, that's 7 groups. So 60 minus 56 is 4. And so add our 0, maybe this finally will get rid of this. Can groups of 8 go into 40? 8, 16, 24, 32, 45 groups. So it's 375 thousandths is equivalent to 3/8. Or if I have 3 or $3 and I divide it into 8 groups, 375 thousandths. However, what if you have an improper fraction like this? Will this be more than 1 or less than 1? It'll be more than 1 because 7 is numerator is greater than denominator. So it can be written as 7 divided by 4. So I have 7 divided into 4 groups. Can 4 go in 7? 1 time. What do I have left? I have 3 left. I need to get rid of this remainder. Remember, I don't want to change this value, so I'll put a 0.0. So bring down to 0. How many groups of 4 go into 30? 7 groups. That's 28. So 30 minus 28 is 2. I need to get rid of this 2. Add another 0. How many groups of 4 go into 20? 4, 8, 12, 16, 25 groups. So it's 1 75/100th, which is equivalent to 7/4 or 7 divided by 4. There are some fractions that are called repeating. What we looked at, this is terminating, and terminating. Terminating means it stops. Repeating means it keeps going forever and ever and ever. So before we do it, is this fraction going to be more than 1/2 or less than half? Well, half of 3 is 1.5, so this is going to be more than half. So what's another way to say 2/3? 2 divided by 3. So I have 2, I'm dividing it into 3 groups. So I know it's going to be more than half. Can 3 go into 2? Nope, 0 times. So the remainder is 2. I don't want to change the value of 2, so I put a 0.0. Bring down to 0. How many groups of 3 go into 20? 6 groups. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Subtract it. 20 minus 18 is 2. I want to get rid of this 2, so I add another 0 and bring it down. So, okay, how many groups of 3 go into 20? Didn't we just do this? It's like deja vu. It seems like it's going to repeat. So it goes in 6 times. And the remainder is 2. You know what? I'm not going to keep on doing this over because this is going to repeat forever and ever. How do you show a repeating decimal? There is called a repeating bar notation. What number is being repeated here over and over? The 6 is being repeated. So I draw a repeating bar over the 6, showing that it repeats. And so that's how you turn a fraction to a decimal or a decimal to a fraction.